All right.
Does that go on forever, Lee?
No, it's like a full minute, but the fade out one I had, I was trying to go 20 seconds, but apparently you guys couldn't hear. That was just totally stupid. But yeah, I should probably just run it in Audacity and cut it down at like the 20-second mark or something like that, so that we don't have this problem again. What do you think?
I think for sure. Cut it down, make it like 25, 30 seconds. Maybe we build a nice little countdown clock to where we dance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be kind of cool too.
I
It'd
think
be a
we
lot
should
of
do
fun.
that.
Let's do it.
Sounds
The
good. Well,
audacity of it all.
that's right. All right. Well, you all know what the heck this is. It's Bow Tie Up Live. We come to you each Tuesday and Friday at 4:19-ish p.m. Eastern to entertain your face off here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and
Wherever else.
yeah. I don't think we went to Twitch today. There was like one guy on Twitch that was watching us. He was like, "What's the point of this?"
I think perseverance is the key there, man. I'm a big advocate for going live on every platform we can and then handling it on the back end.
Okay. Oh, we also have our co-producer on set today. Say hello. Yes. Say hello. All right. Well. Anyway, so here's the deal with this. Andy Neary, I believe, will be joining us a little later in the show. He's wrapping up his own podcast. And so then he's going to reset and join us. And in the meantime, we're going to just find some things to talk about. And in fact, I think you have, Alex,
Yes.
Some things on your list.
I do. We have a lot of fun things to talk about, actually. And for those of us who are just joining us, remember to drop a comment, say hello. We'll stop the show and say hello to you. It's a lot of fun. Many promises there. So the first thing that we get to talk about is actually more of a tragedy, but it's a comedy mixed with tragedy in the great Rocketbook tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lee, I understand when we enter the scene, you are sitting on your balcony in the rain, just enjoying a quiet evening, and tragedy ensues. Please tell us.
Well, like any good writer, I enjoy the sound of the rain pitter-pattering off the surfaces, and since we've got the pond off there, I get to hear it bounce off the ducks, which is cool. And so I'm sitting out, I'm making some notes. We're talking about some things that you and I were discussing earlier, and lo and behold, this rain not only picked up, but said, you know what, screw this. Let's defy gravity and rain sideways for a minute. And so the great thing about Rocketbooks is that when you spray them with water, as long as you're using the correct pin, the friction pin, you can take a microfiber cloth and wipe it off and use it again. Fantastic for when you're trying to reuse it. Not so fantastic for when you haven't taken the snapshot and recorded it yet. Because all of the notes for what we were working on just spilled off the page in a messy blob of purple ink. So that was a great Rocketbook tragedy, and as I saw it.
I still can't believe that the Rocketbook's natural enemy is nothing other than water and rain. At the one time, normally, you think you're going somewhere and you have your notebook on the side and you're kind of hugging it and it's fine. But in this case, I mean, with Rocketbook, every single one of those pages is in a critical risk of being destroyed and all of those thoughts lost.
Yes, one squall away from oblivion.
One squall away. We're always one squall away, aren't we?
Wasn't that like a Kansas song or something like? No, that was Dust in the Wind.
I have no idea. Pop
Same
culture
concept,
isn't quite
different.
my thing.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so let's get back to whatever the heck we're getting back, or wherever you want to take it next.
So we talked about the great Rocketbook tragedy, which I found hilarious and a fun way to lead off with. But next, we get to talk about some fun business things, such as entering a new market and the concept of infinitely transferable data, which is a lot of fun. So
I have a feeling this is going to be relevant to a lot of people here.
This will definitely be relevant to a lot of people here. So first, I know that infinitely transferable data is going to throw a lot of people off. So Lee, you want to break it down? What is it? What does it mean? And how does that even apply to entering a new market? which we've all had to do recently with COVID.
Right. Infinitely transferable data, and I love that term that you just threw at me, and we have not discussed it before, so I'm just going to roll with it like I know what I'm talking about. This is the information about what you do for people that you can take and put somewhere else. It's the core essence of what you're doing for people, because there's a lot of us that had to change markets. I know I've had to change audiences, and work for a different a group of people than I have been for the last 3 or 4 years, but the fundamental skill sets are still the same. What I'm doing for them may be different, it looks different, but still in essence it's the same thing, which is connecting them with the clients they want to work with in a meaningful and human way, because you can't ignore that. That's what I do for people, whether it's coaches or whether it's wealth managers, which is a lot of them I'm working with now, or gym owners, which I've worked with in the past, or any of the other verticals that I've worked with. It's always been the same problem, is communicating those benefits in a way that means something on a human level. That's very different from other people's skill sets, but other people have infinitely transferable skill sets that come from what they do. As for you, Alex, your deep knowledge of automation allows you to do all kinds of fantastic things for people, but it all follows that same fundamental core knowledge and skill set, right?
It does. And I'm so glad that you mentioned automation, because automation is really the beginning of everything in my whole repertoire of skills. And it goes down to problem solving at its core and the idea of root cause analysis, and the idea of identifying a problem and breaking it down to the simplest terms and really looking at what that problem is holistically at the most basic level, instead of just looking at a problem as something that you have right now and you can put a band-aid over. For example, one example of automation that is really easy to see would be having, and keep in mind, automation, software robots, all they do is they do things on the computer. So let's say I need to send a message to somebody, an email saying, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late for a meeting. Normally, I would open my email, I would find that person's name, I would compose a new email, start typing to them, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late to the meeting. With automation, you can leverage a robot to instead just look at a text file in a folder that you have and get an email address to send a message saying, I'm going to be 5 minutes late to the meeting to. So then you can instead just send a quick email with the subject line, send late, send it to your robot email, and the robot takes that email in and it knows to go look at this text file, get an email, and send them a message that you're going to be late. So I just, in 2 seconds, accomplished something that would have taken me like maybe 30 to do. But that kind of, as time saving really stacks and it keeps going, because if that's saving me 28 extra seconds, I just created extra time in the day. And that all just comes from the idea of automating tasks and of making things that you're doing into a very simple concept. Oh, I'm just sending a message saying I'm going to be late. I'm just communicating. So then you can teach a robot how to communicate. It's a topic, it's a skill, it's infinitely transferable in any environment that you're in, because you know how to do something. You know how to communicate, or you know how to solve a problem. You know how to look at things and see how they interact, and you're going to be able to create this thing that's going to be much bigger than what you would have been able to do otherwise. So, that being said, far more important, thank you, Kevin, for stopping the
Yes.
show, saying, hello, how's it going, brother? Hope you're having a great day. He says, is authenticity infinitely transferable? It's an excellent question. Let's
It
talk
is an
about that.
excellent question.
What do you think,
Well,
Lee?
First, I want to say that I think that I wish I had a skillet that was transferable to any market, because I can think of a few markets that I'd like to take a skillet to. So, in case you're not following me, read the bottom of the screen.
Ah, a skillet, of course.
Yes.
I too need a skillet.
I can think of a few clients I've wanted to apply a skillet to.
A skill set. Wow. Thank you. Or
Yeah,
skillet.
no problem. Is authenticity infinitely transferable? Oh Lord, we're gonna get into that. What is authenticity? I mean,
that's a great question.
We have to get into that. If you're trying to be more authentic, then you're just putting effort in to be a genuine fake. I don't get it. You're doing what you're doing, then you're being authentic. If you're trying to be something other what you're doing and you're calling it authentic, then it's not authentic.
The irony.
I'm authentically a jerk, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes. But inauthentic would be, I don't know what that would be. Can you even imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, in authenticity is something that I actually think about a lot, which probably is not what goes through a lot of people's mind.
I do too.
But right, it's almost like goes back to that whole concept of just who you are and your brand, right? Authenticity is all part of your brand. It's how you communicate. It's how you talk. It's how you conduct yourself. Being authentic isn't a emotion such as being a sarcastic old cranky copywriter. Being authentic is being true to you. You as Lee wants to do this thing. You want to respond and be a snarky ass to the third guy today who has sent you the unsolicited cold sales email. You own that, you know? That's being authentic. You're not trying to be a jerk. You're just being true to yourself. Like, hey, I have this, thing that I'm really good at, which is teaching people how to do these things. You didn't listen to a damn thing that I've said. You've done nothing to forge a connection, and now you're trying to do this. So let's kind of break things down and explain it. So when you talk about is authenticity transferable, I hate the authentic. You should know that. Awesome, man. That's because if you have to fake it, you can't fake it till you make it. Authenticity, you can't just make. I
had a feeling he was just trying to throw a flaming bag of poo into the situation.
The word's a trigger? Oh boy. Okay, well, sorry for being a trigger man over here. Straight up on the screen. Sorry, bro. No, I think that honestly, authenticity, any sort of even keeping your cool under pressure, that's another skill set that you can transfer anywhere. I mean, when I was learning how to, do jobs and stuff, like my jobs were Kroger, security, and then insurance. So I took all of these skill sets that I learned from customer service to conflict resolution to one-call closes to just learning how to smile on the phone. And I took all of those into everything that you're seeing today from the way that we run this podcast. So Kevin asking me his joke question is actually awesome. I love it, man. Like that kind of stuff, I love playing devil's advocate, and it's fun to talk about. Another thing that's transferred with me, annoying teachers growing up. They do not like questions. I used to actually have question limits when I was a kid.
Question limits.
More than one teacher put a question limit per day on me. Seventh grade science.
Question cap.
Literally, no, it wasn't even a question cap. It was like one question a day. In 7th grade science class, there was this teacher. I guess I can't dox her and say her name, but just call her Miss Cronegg. And she was like, Alex, you only get one question. That'll be your question of the day, which really sucked if I had a legitimate question on schoolwork. But, I typically just let my mind wander and asked about whatever was on my mind and hoped that she answered, which is why I got the rule in the first place. But it was horrible because I was only allowed to ask one question, and then, everybody would be like, yo, Alex, what are you going to ask today? And even if I wasn't curious about something, I had to come up with some sort of question to ask. So either way, I transferred it all the way to now, asking all of these guests all these questions. That's all it is. Because I had relentlessly annoyed my 7th grade science teacher. You're welcome, guys.
You're welcome. I'm not an authentic person, by the way.
You said you're not an authentic person?
No, of course not.
Why do you say that?
Well, you don't get to see all of it.
True.
I have quite a few facets to my personality. We all do. I'm showing you the ones that I want to show you, and those have been cultivated. Not that they're not part of me, but they're things that I've specifically cultivated based on feedback to create a personality.
Right.
And it's not to say that personality is not part of me, but it's only part of me. So whether that constitutes inauthenticity to you or not, Lord. I don't know, but Bob's your uncle.
That's a really good question. So I think that everyone can agree, and we can all agree that you act a different way around different people depending on how well you know them, or how much you like them, or how close you are to them. There are different levels of your circle, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
most people do,
and the ones. Essence, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so the ones that don't, we tend to see them as tone deaf.
True. So the ones that we're close with, that we share more with, are we being less authentic to the ones further outside the circle? Because I don't personally think that authenticity as a concept really relates to what you're doing with somebody in terms of how closely connected you are. Because you can be authentic, but be authentic as a friend and an acquaintance in a different way than you would be authentic as a client. So there are different, I think, types of authenticity depending on the situation for how you react and interact within it. If you're interacting with a client in two completely different ways, maybe one of those is authentic and one of those is inauthentic, but that doesn't mean that those two different ways of acting or communicating are necessarily inauthentic in and of themselves. Like a matrix.
No, they're not. They're different facets, and we are infinitely faceted as human beings.
Infinitely transferable data. Everything literally about you is that. It's just data. Or skill sets.
And when you look at it that way, it frees up so much energy to do something interesting.
It does.
When you're not looking at these things as failures or obstacles or opposition, but data that you can improve upon, you've freed up a lot of energy that you've been spending blaming yourself, feeling guilty when you feeling like you cannot succeed. We waste a tremendous amount of energy on those things. I know that I do every day. And it's not something that you fix immediately. It's not something you can fix overnight.
Right.
But taking back that energy bit by bit and seeing these things as data to learn from.
Bit by bite?
Bit by bite, by whatever the heck you want.
Tech joke.
All right. What do we got
I didn't
going
mean
on
to
in the
throw you
audience?
off
Anything?
your rocker. My bad. So.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm sure most who know me would agree that happened a long time ago.
True. I would agree with that statement as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you just kind of jump around. It's like musical chairs with a bunch of rockers, so it just depends.
Yeah. It's a great thing unless you're a cat.
Why is that?
Cats don't like rocking chairs.
Why not? Why don't cats like rocking chairs?
Because they have tails.
It throws off their balance?
No, because cats' tails just tend to like to get rocking chairs, and then somebody comes and sits down, they do this, and then the cat's got a smashed tail and off in the corner sulking. Good Lord.
I mean, I don't have a cat, so I don't really understand what these cats are up to nowadays.
How would you feel if somebody rocked a chair back on your tail?
Well, if I had a tail, I could imagine I would probably be relatively upset. I would most likely purr in an angry hissing fashion, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would suppose you would guess.
As I'm sure you've borne witness to many a times with your feline pets. I really didn't know how else to finish that one. I would just trailed off, so I'll just fade out 5 seconds. No worries.
Well, maybe we'll just switch it up with this.
In that time period, I completely reloaded LinkedIn just for the fun of it. What a wonderful trip through the bath with the duck.
Very cool. All right. Well, what's next on the list?
That's as far as I got. I was aiming to get through about 20 minutes waiting for the guests. So we're at 25, which means that I am so far tapped, but I know that we can fill quite a lot of time with random topics that we can most certainly talk about. So
I'm sure we can. So what do you want to get into? We've been talking about this idea of switching, and we kind of got into
there we go.
So beyond the infinitely transferable data and skill sets, what do we need to look at? I mean, your market's drying up, as is happening to many people right now. You got to go look for something else. Where do you start? Because that's where the overwhelm comes in for most people.
Perfect. So this is how we got going on. I got a ticker at the bottom, things to look at, question mark. As we add things to look at when entering a new market, we're going to add it on the ticker. Have some fun. So things to look at. Let's break it down.
Right. Well, the first thing is, where is the opportunity? Where's the buzz happening? Because the conversations are different on LinkedIn and throughout social media than they were 3 months ago. And we're seeing companies and industries emerge that, maybe didn't even exist before, didn't have the exposure that they had before, just because our needs as a society have changed.
Oh yeah, Lynn, let's put a pin in talking about that specific topic right there. Our needs as a society have changed. So that's another thing that we need to look at. So where is the buzz and what are the needs?
Right.
Have the needs. I'm trying to type as I go. Needs evolved or changed recently? So, where's the buzz? What's going on? Where are the people talking? Where are they gathering? What are they doing? What are the needs of this specific market, and have the needs evolved or changed recently? And that's going to give you information on market disruption. And when your market is disrupted, that breeds opportunity. So entering a new market, if you're looking for opportunity, for example, you're really looking for disruption. You're looking for something that has shaken up the industry, so there's a new need because there's going to be less competitors who are able to fill that need. So you're going to stand out from the sea immediately just by bringing in a new, fresh skill set to the market.
Right. That's exactly right. And since you've already had the time to develop that skill set, hopefully, it's not as hard to transfer as you might think. For example, I mentioned earlier that the financial market has been where I've been putting a lot of my attention, because the problem there isn't necessarily a new one, but it's an extremely relevant one right now, is that with everything that we've gone through with COVID and the fears of the future, there's something very pressing on a lot of investors' minds. Which is, look, should I just pull everything out and put it under a mattress right now? Should I stay the course? Should I do this? Should I do that? People's focus is on that. Then the companies and the firms that serve them have a great opportunity to grow their businesses. In this case, investment advisors, wealth managers. People have an incredible opportunity to expand their businesses because they can tap into that zeitgeist, if you will, that keen focus on the financial market, and who can best help them get through this and continue to grow their wealth rather than hitting the wall like so many investors will. What?
Okay, so I have put that in our ticker, and I love our
Okay.
ticker. So, where's the buzz? What are the needs? Has this market recently been disrupted? That's been reworded.
Mhm.
And then what are the problems? So, I've also been writing these down in my handy dandy rocket book.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to kind of link the two up to what we're talking about because we're talking about entering a new market. We're talking about the financial sector. We're talking about investment firms. So, kind of going back up here to go A to Z, if you will, where is the buzz? How do we know, or how did we figure out what was on their minds?
That's always comes back to immersion. Going where you think they, I'm sorry, excuse me, where they don't think that you're listening to them. It seems like my volume just went all wonky.
I can still
Not
hear you
sure.
perfectly
Oh,
fine.
we're gonna find. Okay, as long as you guys are sounding good. Um, Going into actually going out, finding out what people are talking about when they think you're not listening, and diving into those conversations, even little things like, I mentioned on the last show, their clientele, I started going and walking through their neighborhoods, just kind of
Right.
check out what's in the backyard. I stop and talk to a couple people because, believe it or not, I don't bite hard. And, so I don't talk to them like, hey, here's what I can do for you. And blah, blah, blah. It's just making conversation and seeing what they talk about.
So when
And
you're the buzz, in essence, what I hear you saying is the buzz is a
mhm,
natural thing. It's
mhm,
not something you have to seek out. This will appear in conversation. So
right.
and I've simplified that into immersion and communication. So where
Okay.
is the buzz? Where is the buzz? Immerse yourself in that target market. Where are they going to
Right.
conjugate? Where are they going to gather? Lee figured out, oh, millionaires, you know where they're living? They're living in these specific type of districts. I identified one near me and I went for a walk with my coffee in the morning. So you've done that immersion, and while you were doing that, you had conversations and you communicated with somebody who was in that industry. So
Mhm,
that's what got you into this. Ooh, this market has a buzz. So that's our spidey
right.
sense that told us there's a need here. So once we
Right.
heard that buzz, that's when we figured out the need. And what did you figure out with that, Lee? What do they need?
What they need is opportunities to outshine their competitors in the financial market because making moves, good, bad, or indifferent, uh, that's on a lot of investors' minds right now. And the people that are talking to them and reassuring them are the ones that are going to get their attention and ultimately get their business because they've established themselves as vanguards, market authorities, and like I say, I don't want to use the word guru, but just the person that you go to and just say like, okay, this trust. You're building trust with these sorts of
Trust.
things, right?
Okay. That's beautiful. So their needs are they need market differentiation in
Mm-hmm.
terms of uniqueness and trust.
Right,
They need to be a unique company that's differentiated from their other competitors, and people have to trust them.
right,
Okay.
right.
See, I love this. So we're building a really good list that we're going to be able to share with all of our friends out there in the audience. Now, is there a disruption? Because I know that there has been one. So in this buzz conversation, in the needs
Mm-hmm.
analysis, what did we learn that the disruption was to the market? Why is this new market buzzing?
The fears of COVID have caused people to have much deeper fears than how many points is the stock market going to go down, or what percentage am I going to lose, or what metrics. What it's got them thinking about is, am I going to be able to pay for my daughter's college tuition, or is she going to have to start her career burdened by student loan debt? And if that happens, I will feel like I failed her as a parent. What they're thinking about is, we have this vacation home in wherever, uh, that we've been looking at, and we thought, gosh, we're on pace to actually have that dream 10 years from now. Is that even a reality now with all of this? Because with all this uncertainty, it's not. But it's like, they're not sitting around and thinking, gosh, what if the market goes down half a point? It's those kinds of real visceral things that are driving their anxiety. If they wanted to retire and moved to Tahiti in 20 years, and now what looks like, that dream is shattered, that weighs minds, and they're going to listen to anybody who says, wait a minute, no, that dream's not gone.
That dream.
Let's talk about this.
Let's manage that change. Let's really champion for that. Let's be a companion through this time.
We change the path to the dream.
Exactly. Because Tahiti is no longer your dream. You're like, wait a minute, Tahiti isn't what I want anymore. Now what you want is just for your kid to go to college, or for your parents to be able to, have a home to themselves with a nurse instead of having to put them in a retirement community or something. So your needs changed, your market has changed, the market has been disrupted, and in terms of our little flow we've got going on here, the disruption to the market was new fears are driving the market. So the market is now driven by fear instead of opportunity. Before, the market was looking at opportunity every day. I'm checking my stocks because I want to see where I can day trade. But now there's a fear of any trading whatsoever being effective, being good for you. And then what are the problems? So what are the problems that the market is facing right now in terms of the customers? What problems are the clients that they are serving having? And that is uncertainty. They're so uncertain about what's going to happen. A loss of future vision. They no longer see a future. They just see the right now, and they can't look past that. And their basic needs have changed. So before, the needs of a client were going to be dictated by X, Y, and Z, and you had that down to a science. You knew how to communicate with your clients. You knew how it was going to work. Now there's a new market. And in this new market, their needs are fundamentally different. So they need a firm that talks to them differently. And that's how you enter a new market. We didn't go in and compete with anybody because we didn't need to. We're not going to compete with other firms. Instead, we're creating a new market for it. We're saying we solve a unique problem. There's no one that solves this problem because we just figured it out. It just happened. And that's how you use disruption as opportunity. Let's break it down.
Boom. I dig it.
I love that. I love that analysis that we get going on, man. It's just so easy to break these things into such small things, and you realize that the whole question that you were asking yourself, which is, how do I enter a new market? The answer isn't that you're entering a new market. The answer is you're creating a new service to a market that's already there.
Right. These things evolve, and you have to pay attention to these opportunities.
You do. You have to look out for opportunities, but then you also have to be able to examine these opportunities critically, which I know you've already done, Lee. So maybe we can talk a little bit about what problems do they have, but what are the opportunities for financial, wealth management, financial sector companies currently? With these problems in mind, with this type of analysis in this market, what do they need? What are they really asking for?
What they're asking for is peace of mind. For someone that they trust to weather the storm for them. There are so many opinions coming at them because they're reading, Wall Street Journal. They're reading these publications that they're often offering conflicting information. They don't know where to go. They're worried that they're going to listen to the wrong person or make the wrong choice, and they're going to always go with someone that they trust. Now, there's a story in Persuasion, which is a book by Robert Cialdini, where he's a salesman this is a life insurance salesman going door to door, and that each time as they were sitting down to watch a presentation, the salesman would say, "Oh, I forgot something in my car. Would it be okay if I went out and let myself back in?" And every time the homeowner would say, "Yeah, sure." And so Shawnee asked this guy after like the third time, why do you keep doing that? And he says, "Look, who do you trust more than somebody you're willing to just let go in and out of your home at will?"
That's a good point. And
so that actually increased sales because he developed trust. Now, whether you see that as, as manipulative or not, I don't care. It does establish trust, and that's what people are looking for right now.
Persuasion, manipulation, and deception, was it? Give me a second. I got a good one. We're going to talk about that because I would be interested to see what you think about the difference between manipulating somebody and just using psychological tricks, such as this person will allow me back into their home so they will inherently trust me more to get a competitive edge, if you will. When does it cross the line, and what does?
That's a deep question.
Yeah, it is. The ethics.
It's the first thing I always say is, I kind of live under the doctrine of do no reasonably avoidable harm, which is just as long as whatever the heck you're doing, you're taking reasonable care not to harm another person in the process, or animal or whatever, then okay, you do you. So to me, I guess the harm comes into play. We have to use some manipulation tactics to keep toddlers from walking out into the street. But
right,
that's beyond persuasion. You actually have to employ manipulation tactics to keep them from running out into the damn street.
Active deception, yes.
Right. But the end goal is good, so there's always going to be that gray area, and I'd say that a lot of what we do as human beings operates within that gray area, whether we're willing to admit it or not. So I guess my short answer is I don't think manipulation in copy is always bad. It depends on what's done and why it's done and what end it produces.
I agree. You have to look at the overall totality of a decision. Whenever you're deciding, is this okay or not? Is what I'm doing really? I call it the acid test. And it's something recently that I've tried to become more aware of, is just where you have these almost moments of truth where you have to determine if something that you're doing is truly meeting your own internal guidelines. So, call it the acid test. I'm sorry?
Does it involve dropping acid? Is that what?
No. It's more of kind of like throw acid on it and see if it melts. Is it acid proof? Can it really hand up to the intensity of which you're going to be going up against? Because ethics becomes something that you're very, you become very passionate about and is very important to you. So the acid test is just used to say, does this measure up to my code of ethics? Absolutely. It's the ultimate decision maker where you say, this is the question. This is what defines me. Is it going to pass? And if it passes, then I guess what we're saying is sometimes manipulation might be needed.
The interesting part of that is you will eventually find someone who will tell you it's not okay, and that everybody has a right to their opinion. So
they do,
because they think a certain way, then you should too.
I love that opinion. I love those opinions too, because you're right. But then I don't personally think that we should be allowing a 3-year-old toddler to make the decision as to if it's safe to cross the mode, because fundamentally they're not able to make that. So if I have to manipulate them into thinking that the Cookie Monster stops eating cookies if they step out on the street without holding my hand, then so be it.
Right. Cookie Monster be damned.
Yes, and that is not something to play with. It's like running over Oprah was to Drake and Josh, for those of you millennials out
there. What the fuck are you talking about?
Drake and Josh, when they ran over Oprah? Okay. I'll have to play the clip on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I know who Drake and Josh are.
Well, it's
And
a
I know who
hilarious
Oprah is,
TV
I think.
show, and one of you know how Josh is obsessed with Oprah. He loves Oprah. He's just
Okay.
Oprah's biggest fan. Well, there was an episode where Josh got to go and he was at the like a studio or something, and he was driving out, and he literally runs over Oprah. He hits Oprah with his car.
Oh no. Oh well.
And he's like, "Oh my God, I killed Oprah!" And of course, he didn't kill Oprah because we all know that Oprah is still alive and doing the wonderful Oprah-y things. But that was the reference. Just
Okay.
saying. Yeah,
All right. Cool.
that's a little young for the audience out there, I guess. Yeah, I can make age jokes too, guys.
You calling me old pilgrim?
Depends. Is your belt buckle on made of gold?
It used to be, but it wore off.
Not so. That's because you're a pilgrim. It wore off on the Oregon Trail. Yeah, because you're a pilgrim.
Oh my God.
Jeff,
Well,
thank
we got
you
like
for
14.
chiming in and saying clarity. Clarity definitely is always so important in these things.
Yes. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe our guest for today got blooped. That does happen from time to time. There's been a lot of alien abductions around here lately.
Have you heard fireworks recently, Lee?
Yes, I have.
You want to talk about the great
last week,
fireworks conspiracy?
lead it off because I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, fireworks. I literally.
I know what fireworks are.
Everybody knows what fireworks are, but within the last like 2 weeks, everybody around the globe has just been randomly starting to hear and see fireworks. Like they're all like fireworks are going off at random times during the night in like cities and stuff all over like the globe. It's a crazy little phenomenon. So I just stumbled upon a conspiracy thread on Reddit that I was pacing through, trying to learn more about it. And sure enough, yeah, pay attention, you'll hear the fireworks.
Huh. Well, let's
Follow
take
them, see where they
the
go.
populist tack on this. Okay, Google, why are people letting off fireworks right now? Great. Ignore me. Okay, Google. Why are people letting off shitloads of fireworks right now? Deep cover psyop attack on the. This is probably the same thing. This is the same Reddit shit you were probably.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure it is.
Man, you get into some loopy stuff on Reddit, man. This is full on.
Do.
Like, yeah.
Total nuts. But it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Teenagers. We always blame it on the teenagers. Teenagers getting stoned. Oh.
Those damn teenagers.
It says it's some damn pot smoking teenagers.
Was that written by a right-wing activist? What it sounds like.
I think those are probably the only people left in the United States who would still use the phrase "those damn pot smoking teenagers."
True. I find a lot of what's going on hilarious. I bring it up because of the empty rally that was supposed to have 1 million tickets, in which teenagers and K-Stans defeated the president into thinking that they legitimately were going to have over 1 million people in that venue. I am amazed. And the great thing is, and let's talk about this because we'll talk about it from a technology perspective. So, talk about tech perspective time. Tech perspect. I don't know. On rally in Tesla. All right, so let's break it down. Rally on Tesla. Do you know anything about this, Lee? The Trump rally?
Oh, yeah. Well,
okay. So
it's Tulsa. Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to go into it from a tech perspective?
So, I want to go into the overall claim that Donald Trump and his campaign truly thought that over 1 million people were going to be there. Because that is the most ludicrous thing that I have ever heard anyone possibly trying to pull. So
Right.
the rally in Tulsa, leading up to it, there were several times in which campaign staff for Trump and also Trump himself had said that they had sold 1 million or more tickets and that that's what they were playing for. In fact, they had rented out the stadium next to the venue that they had to get an
For
additional
overflow.
40,000
Right.
seats. So that they had plenty of room and they had an outdoor stage and a bunch of stuff. And so overall, the count for actual people that were there at the door was roughly 6,000 and some. And even though I can't confirm, but I did also see another guy who did the math and was like,
Mhm.
actually, there were about 1,800 people who were legitimate Trump supporters and not campaign staff that were there. So, from a technology perspective, how do you possibly have a difference of literally 1 million tickets? If I think that I'm going to have 1 million people at an event and there are only 2,000, how is that possible? Because the person responsible for the technology would have set up everything for it. So when you are talking about ticket sales, these were free tickets that were offered. To claim these free tickets, you have
Mhm.
to sign up. And so that sign up means that you are going to get a couple of very important pieces of information from the person who's doing that sign up. You're going to get where they're located. So
Mhm.
city, state, really just city, state. So you're going to see geographically where this person is. You're going to have how many times they've been to, that place to sign up, how long they've taken, the information that they've entered, and you're going to have a big database of all of these tickets. And all of these tickets in this database are going to have location, they're going to have email address, they're going to have um, really that's all you need: location, email address, IP maybe. So you can then, and of course my battery and my camera died, so I'll put on my robot, but you know where these people are getting tickets from. You know the IP, the literal address of the computer that is being used to buy these tickets. So for any person that would claim that they had no idea of knowing, you could literally have
Mhm.
looked at the IPs, found
Mhm.
duplicates. You could have
Right.
looked at location and known that somebody who was in, let's say, Canada wouldn't be coming to this rally. I mean, you can look at all of these factors and you would legitimately know what's going to happen.
Can,
There's so
can I
many
just
things
point
that could
out
have been
here?
done.
Can I just point out here before we go any farther with this that the entire population of the Tulsa metropolitan area is 400,669 people. 400,000 people in the Tulsa statistical metropolitan area. How the fuck are you going to sell 1 million tickets?
Right. And how many hotels are there? How would they be able to actually
Um,
fit all of these people? I mean, Trump was literally quoted on tape saying that people were lining up 3 days in advance. That's literally impossible.
okay.
And I will
There
be getting
are.
my wonderful robot. Just one moment.
Yeah, you just go ahead and do that because you're asking these questions, and I'm like, I don't know. How the hell am I supposed to know how many hotels there are in Tulsa? There's like mm, not that damn many.
There can't be. I mean, how
No.
many rooms are in a hotel? How many people can fit in a hotel? Let's say you can fit even 5,000 people into one hotel and the city has 100 hotels. That's
This ain't
still
Vegas.
oh, right. That's not Vegas, but you can still have 1,050 hotels. That's 50,000. 50,000 people. That's not even enough for both of your venues in every single hotel in Tulsa. Oh,
1 million people descending on Tulsa would just cripple the place.
yeah, it wouldn't actually be
But
possible. There could not be 1 million people descending into Tulsa. There's not enough room.
no, it's not. So okay, so the numbers BS clearly.
So the
So
question is just why? I mean, why would they want such a BS number to make a false claim?
because the truth is not important to everyone.
That's so disappointing, man. That's why
Sorry, dude.
transparency is so important.
Listen, why am I fucking full screen? Okay, anyway, so the
I've
kind of
been revived as a
personality.
robot.
Oh, I see why. Okay. Hello, Alex Robot. It's
Hello.
wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Can you hear
you're
me?
looking lovely. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now I just
And
need to sync my
I
lips. We'll be good.
What's with the eyes? Are you? Do the eyes move too?
Oh, yeah, of course the eyes move. Absolutely. There we go. I can move a bunch of stuff with this guy.
Okay. Cool.
Where are you at? There we go. Let me just open up my face here.
Ah!
Whew. Change to a questioning look. Maybe put on my curious eyes. Essentially my half eyes. I'm uninterested. I'm sad. Or I'm angry eyes.
Ah!
Roar.
Okay, cool.
And I have a sword.
Oh, nice.
Yes. When I'm angry. But right now I am not.
And yet you have a sword.
I still have to figure out how to put it. There we go.
You seem rather surprised that you're surprised that you have a sword. And all right, so what were we even talking about?
Honestly, I don't know at this point.
Yeah. But the thing is that, Trump famously stated that he could shoot somebody, on Times Square or whatever, and that his supporters wouldn't care. And while that's a wild exaggeration, there's a seed of truth to that, which he planted by making that statement. By saying something so outlandish, it makes some of the smaller outlandish things seem more believable. Like,
yeah,
having 1 million people at a rally in a city that could not possibly hold 1 million visitors ever.
And it just overall, it's the dangerous precedence to set because there's no trust and integrity in the words that are said. Such as currently right now, the newest temper tantrum on Twitter is to say that a mail-in election is going to be rigged and that the results, no matter what, they're just all going to be rigged because millions of people are just going to mail in their votes and the Democrats are using it to cheat the election, and you're illegitimizing the results of a presidential election.
I disagree.
Really? Please, tell us.
I think that voter reticence is going to be a much bigger factor. And, actually, Carla and I were talking about this last night, that Trump supporters are going to vote for Trump no matter what happens. With the what we've got on the opposing side, it's sort of a why bother sentiment, when you have such a big personality and then oatmeal next to it, regardless of how well-meaning that oatmeal is, it's kind of seems like a waste to a lot of people. And that's something that I've heard over and over again. So I really do think that it's going to be voter apathy that's the problem. The ones that vote for Trump, and then the ones who just go, why bother? It's not going to make a difference anyway.
I almost wonder if the current events have impacted overall voter participation. So there are protests going on. There are all of these changes going on in the world, and I wonder if we as a society are actually going to vote more and exercise that right because of what's currently going on than, vote less.
Okay.
I think the apathy will actually decrease.
Okay.
Not to say that actually will happen. I'm probably wrong on that.
Okay.
But
well, no, it's an interesting hypothesis, and neither one of us really know what the heck's going to happen. So let's just put our opinions on record and see what the heck happens.
It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for commenting, Hannah. Hello, how's it going? She says, oh, there's a robot co-host today. Thank you for noticing. My camera battery died, so here I am.
Right. He appears to be a little liquored up, but he's still mostly coherent, so I think we're okay.
Always. I'll have to add a little robot Jack Daniels bottle to him.
Oh, nice. Nice.
You can add anything to these things, man.
And if he can just kind of throw over and it rolls into my screen, that would say
coming soon.
Pull that up. Oh God, I shouldn't challenge him to do stuff like that. He'll spend like 90 hours on it. All right.
That's how all great scientific advances get made.
All right. Well, your robot's starting to look a little droopy there, buddy. So maybe it's time for him to go out for a walk. Maybe we should wrap this thing up here. Is he walking
look,
to the liquor store?
Bouncing up and down. Yeah, he's walking back. He's stumbling.
I haven't had enough. I'll tell you when I've had enough. I've got a sword.
What is he doing? Oh no! Do you have a blaster cannon? He can't control this thing. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna try and hurt you.
Oh, you have a flamethrower. That is badass.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Ooh.
Yeah, they gave me toys to play with. No worries, guys. This is completely healthy.
Oh, man. Maybe I shouldn't have opted for the burrito, man.
We have way too much fun.
All right.
BowtieUP Robot looks tired. BowtieUP Robot is tired.
Yeah. I feel you. All right, well, it's 5:20, so let's just go ahead and wrap this thing up. Do you want to do final thoughts, or do you just want
to do final thoughts?
Okay, well, you and your drunk-ass robot can just do final thoughts then.
Oh, boy. I will have to get the banner ready.
Oh, we're going to, race to the banner.
Made a new one. Boom.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so I'll turn my camera even back on for this. See if I can get a little minute or two of audio to wrap up. Does it love me today? Probably not. There we go. It does. Whoop whoop. I'm back. How's it going, guys? Alex here. Battery running low. As always, my robot is still casually chatting along with me. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me go ahead and I'll put, you guys know what time it is. It's time for final thoughts. You got 30 seconds, a minute and a half, or however long you want to tell and leave you, the audience, with a lasting impression for the day. Lee, since we don't have an honored guest, I will go first and leave it to you as to if you do it or not, as we know the wonderful final thought. So putting myself on center screen, how's it going, guys? Thank you all for tuning in with us today and for exploring such fun business principles with us as well. So if you're looking to expand into a new market, if you're trying to really even think critically about what it is that you have to offer and the skill sets that you bring, remember that it's important to look for those infinitely transferable skill sets that you've picked up and that you know along the way, such as being an excellent persuasive writer or being able to solve problems and automate processes. You know, little things that you've done, even if it's being good at Excel, can really get you a long way. And when you're looking at a market, remember to ask yourself, where is the buzz? What are the needs? Has there been a disruption? And what are the problems? Then you'll come up with that solution. So I encourage you to have an open and fun, casual conversation with somebody in the market that you either serve now or are trying to get into. And of course, to be a better person today than you were yesterday. That's all I've got. And thank you for bow tying up with us. We'll see you next time. Friday, maybe? Who knows? Mr. Rowley, final thought?
Ow.
Penny for your final thought?
Penny from, is that really seriously? Half a denarii for my life story. Bloody hell. First of all, Ambassador Hotel Tulsa. Why in the hell would anybody pay $173 a night to stay in Tulsa? I don't care how nice that room is. I am not paying $173 a night to stay in freaking Tulsa, okay? And by the way, there are 42 hotels in the greater Tulsa area, not nearly enough to support 1 million guests, but then we already knew that. All right, that's all we got for this. My final thought is, as always, is thank you for hanging out with us for an hour, putting up with the nonsense. I hope you have learned something of value today, and maybe taken away a laugh or two with it, because we occasionally seem to think we're funny, and other people occasionally think we are too. I can see back in the studio areas, Alex Robot was just wanting to walk it off back in the green room. We thought we'd bring him back in here. You just kind of hope he doesn't puke on the furniture. Anyway, so from me and from Drunk Robot Alex, who I was afraid he was going to slide off the screen. What, do you want, a treadmill over there?
I'm just running, trying to keep up with the times.
Right on. Ain't nobody going to break my stride.
Flame on, guys.
Ain't nobody going to hold me down. All right, we're out of here. Till next time. Come on.